Hello everyone. Welcome to the session on data structures. Here I'll be dealing with a topic in module 2, stacks and its applications. So this course is basically offered to third semester BTech Computer Science students under the curriculum of APJ Abdul Kalam Technological University. So in this session, our main focus is on a linear data structure named stacks and what are the operations that you can perform on stacks, and also what applications can we perform with the help of this data structure. First of all, how do you define a stack? A stack is basically a linear data structure in which data is added and removed at only one end called the top. So if you are considering this picture, you can consider this as a stack where you can see some elements being filled up in the stack, and this is the point through which you insert elements into it. So this is called top. So insertion as well as deletion takes place only through this end. Okay. So when it comes to the case of stack, you use the term push and pop to indicate insertion and deletion respectively. So to add or push an item to the stack, it must be placed on top of the stack. To remove or pop an item from the stack, it must be removed from the top of the stack too. So it is just like you are keeping a rack of plates one above the other. So you keep on placing keeping the plates one above the other, and you will be placing the last plate on top of other plates. So every insertion happens through this end. So if you want to remove the plate from from the stack of plates, the first one to be removed from the stack will be the last one that got inserted. So that is the basic principle of stack. That is, the last element that is pushed into the stack is the first element to be popped out of the stack. And that is why a stack has another name called last in first out data structure, or LIFO. Okay. Now coming to an example, see here you have three elements inside the stack, and you have a top that points to the topmost element of the stack. So basically, if you are considering a stack, there will be a limit to the number of elements that you can push into the stack. Okay. And when the stack becomes full, you tell that it is an overflow. You cannot push more elements into it. Similarly, the case where a stack is empty, that's called an underflow. So you will be allowed to insert elements when the stack is empty, but you will not be able to pop elements out, that is remove elements from an empty stack. That is an underflow condition. Okay. So we'll be discussing it in the next slide. So here you want to push 4 into the stack. So you'll be pushing through the top. 4 occupies the position above 3 and top is repositioned to 4. Next, you have to push 5. So push 5 means you will be placing it on top of 4, and again top is repositioned to point to 5. Now comes pop. Pop means you will be removing an element from the stack. So by default, the last element to be pushed into the stack will be the first element to be popped out. That is 5 will be popped out of the stack. 5 is popped out. So 4 is the topmost element now. Again, if you call a pop operation on the stack, you can see that 4 is removed and 3 is the topmost element. Again, when you are calling pop, 3 will be removed from the top, and the only two elements left are 1 and 2. Okay. So these are the basic operations. So a review of the operations that you can perform on the stack. You can basically push, that is push an item into the stack. Pop, remove the topmost element from the stack. Peep is finding the ith element of the stack. Peek is it returns the topmost element of the stack. And you have two conditions: is empty, it checks whether the stack is empty, and is full, it checks whether the stack is full. So considering this example, you can see that suppose 6 is the maximum size of the stack. So here the stack is not empty, the stack is not full. You are allowed to insert one more element into the stack. Then after that, you will not be allowed any more insertions because the stack is full. And you can pop these elements, all these 5 elements from the stack. And once you have popped out all the elements, the stack is empty. That is, you have an underflow condition. You cannot perform a pop operation on an empty stack. Okay. So push an item, pop, remove the topmost element. Then peep means you have to find ith element of the stack. Search whether an element is present or not. Peek, it just peeks the first element, that is returns the topmost element of the stack. Is empty, check whether stack is empty, and is full, checks whether the stack is full. So how will you implement a stack? So basically you have studied arrays in our C programming paper, which you have studied during the second semester. So you can implement stack using arrays. Okay, you can implement it using linked list also, but you will be studying that only in the next module after studying the concept of linked list. So for the time being, we'll be implementing stack using arrays. Array, it's a one-dimensional. You are dealing with a one-dimensional array where the elements are placed in continuous memory locations, and you have to specify the maximum size of the array. So you are using such an array to implement stack. So some initial considerations to be done are you have to define the size of the stack because you have to check for overflow condition. So define the max size. Then you have to declare an array. The array name is stack. And similarly, you need a variable to indicate the topmost element of the stack, that is top, and you initialize it to -1. Okay. So the algorithm for pushing the item is if you want to push an item into the stack, hmm, the first thing you will check is whether you have space inside the stack. How will you check whether you have space inside the stack? That is, does your top point to the maximum size of the array? Okay, if the top points to or it indicates the maximum size of the array, that means you cannot insert or push more elements into the array. So such a case is called overflow. So whenever you want to push an item into the stack, you will check for the overflow condition. That is, do you have space inside? Otherwise, you will not be proceeding with push. You can directly give a message that the stack is full and you are not able to push an element into the stack. So the condition is top equal to max size -1. Remember, our array indices starts from 0 to n minus 1, where n is the maximum size of the array. So here, if top equals max size -1, that means your stack is full. Then you have to give a message that the stack is full or give an overflow message. Otherwise, you can place that item into the stack, that is into the array, and then you can increment top. So when you place the first item into the stack, the value of top will be 0, that is -1 plus 1, 0. And this goes on until your stack is full. Now you pop an element from the array. When you pop an element from the array, the first thing you have to check is there anything to be popped out from the array? If there is no element to be popped out, then there is no point in proceeding further. So the condition for underflow or to check whether the stack is empty is top equal to -1. That is the initial condition. So if the value of top equals -1, that means the stack is empty. So there is no point in trying to pop out an element from an empty stack. So you can directly give a message, stack is empty. Otherwise, you can return the topmost element from the stack because it's a matter of deleting the element, and you can decrement the value of top by 1. That is stack of top minus minus. Peek, it returns the topmost element of the stack. Peep is you will be giving a position of that element to be searched, and based on that you will be trying to search that element from the stack. So these are the basic operations, very simple operations that you can perform using an array. So you probably have to do this as part of your lab corresponding to this course. Okay. Now coming to the applications of stack. What do you mean by an application? Application means which all places do you make use of this data structure. So the speciality of this data structure is here Insertion and deletion takes place through one end. And since you are doing in such a manner, the last element to be inserted into the stack will be the first one to be removed from the stack. So there are many cases where you want this order to be preserved. So in whichever scenario you want that order to be followed, you make use of this stack data structure. So in this course, you will be mainly discussing about three applications of stack. One is infix expression to postfix expression conversion, postfix evaluation, and the third one is check for balanced parenthesis. Basically, three places where you make use of stack to implement these functions. First, infix to postfix conversion. So first thing you have to notice, what do you mean by a postfix expression? So we are very much familiar with infix expression. What do you mean by an infix expression? See, 2 plus 2 can be considered as an infix expression because the operator, that is this plus, lies in between these two operands. So it's called an infix expression. So very often the expressions that we have studied in C or in our maths classes, all of them were infix expressions. That is, you always saw a binary operator in between two operands. Whereas if you consider this expression is the corresponding postfix expression of this infix. Postfix means the operator will be placed after the operands. You can see this plus not in between but after the operands. So then you call it as a postfix expression. So this is an infix expression and this is a postfix expression. Similarly, you have prefix expression also where the operator is kept before the operands, prefix. Okay. So computers, they mainly deal with postfix expressions. The reason why they deal with postfix expression is you need not worry about the rules of precedence. You need not worry about the associativity and about the parenthesis. Hope you are remembering the precedence rules. That is the highest precedence is for exponentiation, followed by division and multiplication, followed by addition and subtraction. Similarly, the expressions in the parenthesis need to be evaluated first. So many rules were there when you're considering infix expression. But when it comes to postfix expression do not have any parenthesis. So need not worry about parenthesized expressions, need not worry about precedence rules, nothing. So that is why most of the systems make use of postfix expressions for computing the results. And why are we used to infix? Because we grew up with it and it is easier to see visually what is done first when you are using infix. So systems are not considered about their comfort. They want the evaluations to be done in a faster manner, which without much ambiguity, which is attained with the help of postfix expression. How will you convert an infix to postfix expression? So here you have an algorithm. You will be more clear with the algorithm once we do an example. But anyway, I'll explain the algorithm as we move on. Here, x is an arithmetic expression written in infix notation. And basically, you are doing this algorithm to convert that infix expression to a postfix expression named y. So you want to convert x to y. Remember, in an infix expression, you are supposed to find operands, operators, opening brackets, and closing brackets. Whereas a postfix expression contains only operands and operators, no parentheses. So here you are basically manipulating with an infix expression and trying to convert that to a postfix expression. So when you manipulate or when you traverse an infix expression, you will be seeing opening bracket, you will be seeing operand, you will be seeing a closing bracket, you will be seeing an operator, 4 cases. So what should you do when you see each of them? That is what the algorithm explains. So initially, this is an optional step that is adding additional brackets. One is to the stack and the closing bracket, you put it at the end of x. So it is just acting as a delimiter to check whether you have reached the end of the expression. So here, as we have mentioned, it is an application of stack. So here you make use of stack to store the operators. That is the plus, minus, multiplication, division. You use the stack to store the operators, not the operands. Always keep that in mind. Now, second step, it scans the infix expression from left to right and it repeats these steps for each element of x until the stack is empty. What should you do if an operand is encountered? You have to add it to the postfix expression. That is, just give it to the final output that you want. If a left parenthesis is encountered, that is, if an opening bracket is encountered, push it onto stack. If an operator is encountered, then you are supposed to push it into the stack. But there is a rule of thumb, that is, whenever you want to bring an operator into the stack, always it has to sit above an operator whose precedence is lower than that operator. For example, if you are evaluating an expression and you see a plus, that means you have to bring that plus into the stack. But when you look into the stack, the topmost element of that stack is a multiplication operator. What is the relation between, or what is the precedence between multiplication operator and the um, addition operator? Multiplication operator has a higher precedence. That means this plus will not sit above this multiplication operator. So you have to pop this multiplication operator out of the stack. So when you are popping it out, you are placing it to the end of postfix expression. Again, you check whether the whoever is sitting on top of the stack, there are only chances of operators as well as opening brackets to be present in the stack. Okay. Again, if you see another operator which has higher precedence or equal precedence with this plus, the only chances again if you see a minus there, then also the plus operator will not come into, because minus and plus have the same priority. So then also you will have to pop that minus out. So plus will get into only if it can find an operator of lower precedence than itself. That is mentioned in this. Repeatedly pop from stack and add to y, which is a postfix expression. Each operator on top of stack, it has the same precedence as or higher precedence than the incoming operator. And you have to add that popped out operator, the incoming operator to the stack. So what should you do when an operand is found, when an opening bracket is found, when an operator is found? Again, if a right parenthesis is encountered. If a right parenthesis is encountered, then you have to continuously pop the elements from the stack until you find its corresponding opening bracket. And once you find that opening bracket, just remove that opening bracket from the stack and continue with the expression. This is a basic algorithm. So here, I'll show you an example of how it works. See, I have an infix expression here, which is our x. I want to convert it to y, our postfix expression. Look here, I can see an opening bracket, that is a left parenthesis. I can see operands, I can see operators, I can see a closing bracket or a right parenthesis. So what should I do when I find all these things? So here, I'm not adding those extra brackets, step number 1. I'm just giving the basic steps. So look here, I'm seeing an opening bracket, push it into the stack. I'm seeing an operand, I am moving it to the postfix expression. I'm seeing a plus, I want to push it into the stack, no problem, because you have an opening bracket which is having the least priority. Again, I see the next one, B postfix. Again, I want to push minus into the stack, because whenever I see an operator, I have to push it into the stack. Okay, but when I am trying to come inside the stack or place this minus inside the stack, look at the operator who sits on top of the stack. It is plus. It is having an equal precedence with minus. What should you do? You should pop this plus out and place it here. And again, you check, is there any other operator who is having equal or greater precedence? Then if it finds that everything is fine, then minus will get inside. So within a split second, everything will happen. See, plus moved out and minus got it. Got it? Again, you see C here. C moves to the postfix expression. When you see a closing bracket, you will pop all the elements from the stack until you see an opening bracket. and you just discard this opening bracket. That's what is happening. Just minus is moved out, moved to the postfix, closing bracket and opening bracket are removed. Again, star, push it into the stack, D, go to the postfix expression. Again, you see a minus, and minus wants to come in. Look at the topmost element of the stack, it is star, which is having a higher precedence than minus. Oh, things are bad. So you will have to pop the element out of the stack and you have to bring it in. Fine. Again, a closing bracket, push it into the stack, E, move to the postfix expression, plus, again push it, no problem, because minus is just sitting behind or below this opening bracket. So no problem, plus is fine with sitting above an opening bracket. Next is F. Again, I see a closing bracket, I move plus out and that opening bracket is discarded, and I'll be popping out any more elements that are left in the stack. So I have the stack empty and I have my postfix expression ready here. So this is a conversion from infix to postfix. So when you have to write it for an exam, you will have to draw a table like this. Say you have an infix expression like this and you want to convert it to a postfix, you will be drawing 3 columns, where in the first column you will be telling what all tokens you are reading, that is each character. You are reading A and you have to directly give it to the postfix, fine. Next is an operator, so you have to push it into the stack, okay. So here from it is shown from left to right, so it is indicating bottom to top. So whichever is in this side, that indicates the top. Again B, so A B, again star, that means star should come here, but slash is already sitting here, which is having equal precedence, so pop it out. So the steps that we have shown or that we have seen before, it is actually represented as a table, and this is what you have to write when you are given a question for your exam. So when you are looking this, these rules are followed. Okay, so just go through the algorithm very well. It's very important. The second application is, how do you evaluate a postfix expression? That is, given an expression, a numerical expression in postfix form, how will you get the final answer? When you have infix expression based on the precedence rules, based on the parentheses, everything, you will be evaluating a result without any ambiguity. So how are you going to evaluate a postfix? So first we'll be seeing a manual evaluation based on these rules. You go from left to right. If you see an operator, apply it to the previous 2 operands. So here numbers, we are intending numbers, and proceed with. So an example is, I have a postfix expression here. Okay, towards the end I'll show you the infix expression corresponding to this. So how did you get this postfix from that infix? You can apply your algorithm that we have studied so that you get an idea of what has happened. So according to this algorithm, what we do is we keep on moving from left to right. You see a number, fine. You see a next number, fine, no problem. You see a third number, fine. But whenever you see an operator, then you have to take the previous 2 operands and apply this operator between them, and you will get the result. Again, you proceed further. This rule has to be followed. Whenever you see an operator, then you have to apply that to the previous 2 operands. So finally, you will be getting one answer. So just have a look at how we do this manually. Look, 10 and 4. So 10 into 4 is 40. And again, you move further. You are moving from left to right. So 40, next is 5, it's fine. Next, you see an operator, slash. Suddenly, what do you have to do? You have to apply the slash to 40 and 5. That is 40 by 5, you get 8. Again, you proceed further, 8. Again, you see a plus. That is, look at this case. You have 2, 8, and a plus. So you apply this plus to 8 and 2, you get 10. Fine. Again, you proceed further. You see 9, no problem. You see 3, no problem. Minus. Suddenly, you apply this minus to 9 and 3. 9 minus 3 gives you 6. So now you have at hand 10, 6, and minus. The last operator, you apply to 10 and 6. 10 minus 6, 4. This is the answer, or this is how you evaluate a postfix expression manually, by hand. So this was the equivalent infix expression. We have converted this infix expression to postfix expression using our stack. So if you had this infix expression with you, very easily you could have got the answer 4, right? Because you know the precedence rule, you know the associativity, you can directly apply that and get the answer 4. But given an expression like this, without any parenthesis, without any concern about the rules, you are not concerned which has to be applied first. You just move blankly blindly from left to right, and then whenever you see an operator, you apply it just to the previous two operands and proceed further. So this is easy for a computer, and the stack helps you or helps the system to perform this operation. So look at the algorithm for postfix evaluation using stack. Okay, so here just correct this as postfix evaluation, not conversion. So here what you do is, the algorithm, what it does is, you will be adding a delimiter to the postfix expression. Then you read the postfix expression from left to right until this closing bracket is encountered. And if an operand is encountered, push it into stack. So here I'll tell you one thing. See, in the case of infix to postfix conversion, actually the stack was used to store the operators. But when it comes to postfix evaluation, the stack is used to store the operands or the numbers. That is a major difference between infix to postfix conversion and postfix evaluation. So if an operator is encountered, if an operand is encountered, push it into stack. If an operator is encountered, then you have to pop two elements. And while popping, you have to maintain the order. What is the importance of maintaining the order? See, where you have two operators, minus and division, where order becomes prominent. A by B is different from B by A, and A minus B is different from B minus A. Whereas multiplication and addition does not have a problem because A plus B and B plus A is same. Similarly, A into B and B into A gives you the same result. So since you have the other two operators, similarly exponentiation also, A raised to B and B raised to A gives you two different answers. So in order to maintain the correctness for that, you insist that A is the top element and B is the next to top element, and you always perform the operation B operator A. Then you push that result back to the stack, and this continues until you find that the expression is over. Once you have completed or you have reached the end of the expression, there will be only one value left inside the stack. That will be your final answer. So pop the only operand from the stack. This is the result of the evaluation. If you have more than one, that means there is some error in the expression. So this is an example. Look, you have a postfix expression 4, 5 plus 7, 2 minus star. Look, you are pushing the operands or the numbers into the stack 4, 5. Again, when you see plus an operator, you pop the top two elements 5 and 4. 5 plus 4 is 9. You push it into the stack. Again, you proceed. 7 is an operand, push it into the stack. 2 is an operand, push it into the stack. Again, you see an operator minus, you apply it to 7 and 2, you will be getting 7 minus 2, 5, push it into the stack. Then again, you see a multiplication operator, you apply pop 5 and 9 and you apply it to 9 and 5, you get the final answer 45 here. This is how you evaluate it. And one more example. The one that you have done manually, how will you do that with the help of a stack? 2, push it into the stack. 10, push it into stack. 4, push it into stack. Again, you see an operator. What do you have to do? You have to pop top two elements. A is 4. Next to top element is 10, which is assigned to B, and you will be doing 10 into 4. You will get 40. Push it into stack. Next is 5. Push it into stack. A division operator, pop 5, pop 40, do the operation as 40 by 5, 8, push it into the stack. Next is plus, pop 8, pop 2, 2 plus 8 is 10, push it into the stack. 9, push, 3, push. Again, you see a minus, so that means 3 is popped out. Next to top element, 9 is popped out. 9 minus 3 is 6, that is pushed in, 10, 6. Then again you see a minus, you pop out 6, you pop out 10, 10 minus 6, 4. There is only one operand left. That is a final answer. The result is the only thing on the stack when done. If you have more than one operand in the stack, that means there is an error with the expression. So this is how you make use of a stack for evaluating a postfix expression. Remember, you can only evaluate a postfix expression with the help of a stack. So given an infix expression, the first thing you have to do is convert the infix to postfix by making use of stack. Once you have obtained the postfix expression, you can evaluate the postfix expression again with the help of a stack, and without much concern about the precedence, associativity, or parenthesis, you will be able to get the final answer. So the first two applications. The third application of stack is check for balanced parenthesis. Balanced parenthesis means if you are having an expression, okay, the maintaining the correct order of parenthesis or brackets is very important in the evaluation of that expression. So it is not a matter of just counting the number of opening brackets and the number of counting brackets. The order in which they are, each opening bracket is closed, that also has a significant impact on a particular expression. So only if those brackets are in the correct order, you can call it as an expression having balanced parenthesis. So here you make use of a stack to check whether an expression has got balanced parenthesis or not. So you here the algorithm is you traverse the string. Here you are concerned only with brackets. You are not doing anything with operators or operands. You're only dealing with opening brackets and closing brackets, and that too different types of brackets. You can see a round bracket, you can see a curly bracket, you can see a square bracket. So if you are seeing an opening bracket or parenthesis of any type, then push it into the stack. Again, while you traverse the string, if you are finding a closing bracket, then what you do is you pop a character from the stack and you check whether it is a match, that is, it is a corresponding parenthesis. That means if you have seen a round bracket, a closing round bracket, if the expression is correct, the topmost element will definitely be an opening round bracket. If you are not getting an opening round bracket from the top of the stack, that means there is some problem with the expression. The expression does not have a balanced parenthesis. Okay, so if the corresponding parenthesis at the top of the stack is its matching pair, then you pop it from the stack. Once a string is traversed completely, then check if the stack is empty or not. If the stack is empty, then parenthesis is balanced. Okay. Now let's see cases. This is a case where you can see that the expression is completely balanced. Look at the order of parenthesis, opening curly bracket, square bracket, round bracket. So the same order is maintained, opening round bracket, sorry, closing round bracket, closing square bracket, and closing curly bracket. Whenever you see opening brackets, push it into the stack. Whenever you see a closing bracket, look at the topmost element. Do they match? Yes. So pop it. Again, a closing square bracket. Topmost element is an opening square bracket. Again, a match. Pop it out. Then here you can see a closing square bracket, curly bracket, and an opening curly bracket at the top of the stack. Pop it out. So this is empty. That means your expression has got balanced parenthesis. Second case is the case where your expression does not have a balanced parenthesis. Even though the count is correct, the number of opening brackets and number of closing brackets, they are equal. The order is not correct, right? There is a slight difference in these two. You are supposed to find a first closing round bracket and then only a square bracket, but that has changed. An error can definitely occur. So a stack will be helping you to check for or identify that error. So look at our case, we have pushed all the opening brackets, fine. And when you first encounter a closing square bracket, look at the corresponding top element. It is an opening round bracket. That means there is a mismatch. So an error will be displayed. Here also you have a mismatch case. Not a mismatch case, you have an additional closing bracket. This curly bracket does not have its opening curly bracket. So there also you have an issue. You push the opening bracket, and when you look at the closing brackets, you got the correct pairs, that is fine, you pop them out. But after that, when you are checking for this closing bracket and trying to find its corresponding opening bracket in the stack, you are not able to find that. So that also gives you an error. Okay. Then another case is here also you have an opening curly bracket, but you do not have the closing one. It is missing. So there also you can find that when the expression is over, your stack is not empty because there was no closing bracket to bring this opening bracket out. So that also indicates that the expression has got an imbalanced parenthesis, or the expression does not have a balanced parenthesis. So these are the cases where you make use of stacks. So to summarize with, in this session, we have studied about a linear data structure stack where insertions and deletions take place only through one end called the top. And another name for stack is a last in first out structure or a LIFO. And what are the operations that you can perform on a stack? What are the applications of stack? That is infix to postfix conversion, postfix evaluation, and check for balanced parenthesis. So whichever application wants the order of elements to be reversed when it wants the output, then definitely it will go for stack. That is a last in first out structure. So hope you have understood the session. Have a nice day. Thank you.